do you now believe in township property, or do you still think it requires a deeper? Because one of the things I said at that time was, from what I've seen, urban property, man, is overpriced. Then there's levies and those things. Ekasi, a lot of those things aren't there. The extra levies and the rates are not high because of the area. I will have to say this because it's important. A lot of the people that build, they also buy a bridge. So they don't pay for electricity and those things, which become big costs. But it comes back to bite them. No, of course, it's wrong. Guys, do not do that. But I'm just saying a lot of people build there. And then in terms of what you're saying about tenants, the fact that there are tenants there, and do you think township investment is really a great thing people should be looking into? Or are you still more like, look, maybe do urban, it's more organized? And
I think I was a bit misconstrued because I think at that time, the topic was about which is a better way to invest for a certain type of investor. And at that current moment, we were talking about, I think it's a short-term investor, someone who just is in it to make a quick buck and then invest in something bigger and, leave, and versus, so we were just talking about long-term and short-term investments. And I really think at the current moment, township investments are the best versus urban, you know, because like I said, it also comes back to the rates and taxes that you're going to pay. In an urban area, you're going to pay more rates and taxes, and also finding tenants as well. In this day and age, which tenant are you going to find easy? Because, if we, truth be told, the majority is middle class or maybe lower class, you don't, the higher class, the luxurious property is the 1%, so we've been told, So you have to cater for those people as well. So I think township is quicker investments. It's quicker to pay off depending on where you're buying, obviously, and what type of property you're buying. It's quicker for you to, even if you buy just a 4-roomed property in the township, it's quicker for you to turn that into back rooms and whatnot and start earning and pumping money.
It's difficult to build in suburbia.
It's very difficult.
The town planning approvals and the Ekasi, even though you're supposed to get approvals, you can just put up my rooms, Baba, and get going. Have you seen Indlu? So there's a company called Indlu. I think it's called Indlu Investments. I stumbled upon them 2-3 years ago. They go around, apparently currently, to townships, finding people with homes where the stand is cool. And then they offer to build for you units. And then they manage the tenants, and then they give you a cut of that. You haven't heard of that?
I've heard of that. But it works like, I think how it works is you got a nice big earth. They build outbuildings, lapo, those units, lezo, and then from there, they take the rent. You stay there for free. Obviously, it's your property. They give you a certain small percentage of the rent they collect. You have to have an agreement. Say you're going to say it's 7 years, and then after 7 years they're done, and then whatever it is, the proceeds thereafter belong to you. So it's like a time based.
Does it sound like a good deal to you?
No, it sounds like a rip-off.
Why?
No, it sounds like a rip-off. How do I allow someone to come into my yard and give me a certain percentage for a number of years? Basically, it's like renting out your commercial property. Yes, that's how it's like. It's like renting out commercial property.
But they building. It's not your money.
I don't think.
And they're managing the tenants.
I don't think I would do it. It's just another way of ripping people off.
I think they're trying to gentrify. I don't know who's behind it, by the way, and I don't know the race. But I think they're trying to gentrify townships. Number one. Number two, I feel like they want to own a database of tenants. To a point where if ever they leave your property, all your tenants will disappear. And you'll almost have to beg them to come back at like a similar deal. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, especially for people that are like, look, I've got land. I'll never be able to build. I'll never have the money. So, sis LeLo, no I believe in land. I mean, at least I get a cent. But I think for those of us with a bit more education, we need to have a more holistic conversation around it.
I think it's really just taking advantage. I mean, and also you must look at what type of people do they approach.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? If I'm going to be approaching an old lady staying in a little 2-roomed house, in asbestos, a gasi, who's really, that extra 1,500 rand, because I mean, how much more are they going to give her? She's going to be able to buy lights and a little bit of groceries. I think that's the type of people that they would target, because a normal person like you and I, in my own property, a gasi, allow you to come and build a room and give me like a 2%.
Sure.
Does it really make sense?
I wonder what the contracts have to say in terms, because you brought up the example, if ever what happens to that property? Would you have an agreement? Or how many of those properties they've maybe even convinced the owners, we have a good relationship.
Yes.
Let us give you 100,000. And then, Salusus Daisela, this whole thing. The importance of contracts.
And the agreement, does now the property still stay as a freestanding, or does it become sectional now? Because, there's investors that came into my property and they've built out buildings, and you're practically owning half of the person's stand.
The importance of contracts, number one, specifically because I raised Indlu, with a lot of people, whether they're buying, whether they're renting, we don't really read contracts. And how important are those?
It's very important, especially the contracts from your banks.
We definitely don't read those. And they're written in small print. Will it sign here? No, you don't have to. Everyone. Sign in Allah. Okay, nala. Now, just standard stuff.
It comes crossed, actually, that you should sign page 1.
Yes, they put the right. Cross.
Yes. And
no one reads those things.
They don't. And then also the term of repayment. Sometimes, because the current rate is 11.75 and you're 10%, you sign a fast, and then you'll find out it's 30 years. And you're going to owe 35 years repayment term. And you're going to be, tied to a bond for those number of years, and you don't know the future. So the shorter the term, the better. So let's stick to the standard 20 years, and then because it's easier for you to make that, to work toward making that 10 instead of 20. And like if it's 30, 35, and looking at how old you are at that current, moment, how old are you going to be by the time you finish paying off your bond? Would you even still be working?
I'm just an ordinary guy. Contract. Where should a normal person take the contract? Is it to the realtor? Can you trust the realtor? Should they take it to someone else? Sometimes lawyers are expensive. Because I almost want people to know that you almost should never sign anything until someone who is hopefully not going to make money from this thing reads it for you. Where can people take contracts before they sign them?
I think everybody has, maybe not everybody, but most people have that family member. That can read a contract, And Angisho Manje, because of this, we try to hide when we do certain things. Like, I've got this goal, I'm busy buying property, I want it to be a surprise.
Of course.
Because whatever it is, social, whatever,
lawyer.
Yes, exactly.
Lawyer.
So everybody has that friend. Or at work, at your office, if you are, because obviously if you are employed, you can give it to your boss, give it to the admin lady to go through it, any contract that you know. That. So there's a whole lot, because obviously attorneys and salespeople are similar.
Correct. They're there to make a buck.
They're there to make a buck, and they'll tell you what you want to hear and not really what you need to hear. So, yeah.